If purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
And we're back again. Another episode of Far From Finish. And again, as always, I just want to thank you for being here with us, supporting what is going on here, and only looking forward to it getting better and better. So now that the rust is shaken off, we want to get right into it. We want to get into another topic, another episode. And today I want to look at trauma bonding. What is trauma bonding? Some of us may have heard of trauma bonding. But what I want to look at in regards to the trauma bonding, most of the times when one defines trauma bonding, it speaks about where it arises from a cycle of abuse, where a person is bonding to another person who has abused them. What I want to look at today is trauma bonding, where two persons who have suffered trauma, who have encountered trauma, bonding. And that is something I believe that is not spoken of a lot or seen a lot, because most of the times we tend to look at trauma bonding from the perspective of the person who have been abused. This aspect of trauma bonding I'm speaking about is where two persons have been abused and they come together. And they come together on the significance and the identical or the comparison or the what's the word I'm looking for, or the similarity of there being true trauma, and come together now and sharing their experiences. And as in those sharing those experiences, the emotional bond is building, the emotional bond is becoming stronger. And why that is a danger is because when they bond, they're usually bonding on the similarity of their trauma and the emotions that come with it. But the thing is, when they become healed, what they recognize is that I have become so emotionally attached to someone, I may not want to spend the rest of my life with that person. And this is very significant in most relationships that are going on right now that people don't recognize. It is important that you be careful of who you are expressing your traumas with, especially when that person in themselves have also gone through trauma. Because there's going to be an emotional bond and an emotional coming together of those two persons based on that trauma. And the thing is, when that person is healed, what you tend to see is that there seems to be a frustration, or there seems to be a moving away from the individual. And then that in itself, because a bond has been built, and beginning to break that bond causes friction in that relationship. So what I'm saying in entirety is this: be careful of who you are sharing your traumas with. That's number one. Number two, be mindful of who you allow to share their trauma to you. Because when it comes to trauma, it is important that one seeks healing in understanding what they have been through and how they can be a better person going forward in order to be that complete individual for a relationship. Trauma bonding is very serious, and it's a very underlying thing, because most of the times when we think about relationships and we are sharing ourselves with each other, we are sharing our experiences, we are sharing our hurts, we are sharing our joys, we are sharing every aspect of us. And that is what builds the intimacy between you and that individual. So when it comes to trauma bonding, you want to make sure that when you're sharing yourself emotionally, you are ensuring that the information that you're passing on, it is more to help that individual rather than get attached to that individual. Trauma bonding is a form of attachment, and it can be a very negative form of attachment. So relationships in itself have attachments. So if one was seeking to have a very successful relationship, it all has to start with understanding the attachments you are getting yourself involved in. So trauma is not something to shy away from, but in addressing your trauma, ensure that you're emotionally mature in terms of who you're sharing with and who is sharing with you. And as we always say, if purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
If purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.